We really like the look of butcher block counters and found these solid oak counters at Lumber Liquidators for a pretty good price. The factory cuts on the ends of the blocks we got were not square, so I used a skill saw with a fresh blade to make a square cut, and then the Craig Rip Cut guide to make a more steady and straight line on a second cut. The sink is really tricky to get a straight cut with a jigsaw. You should really allow the blade to move very slowly to avoid an angled cut. We used small brackets to attach the counter to the cabinets. So we got these in. It'd be better to put them over here, but we have no way to screw them in, so we put them over here.
What we're going to use
is the Waterlocks original sealer and finish. We've used this stuff before, it works great. It's kind of hard to find. You can order it on Amazon, or you can get it at a special wood store, which we got out here. So you need to do 3 coats, and each coat takes at least 24 hours, so it takes a long time, and it stinks. All right, let's do it.
Yesterday, I discovered, or the day before yesterday, that the accent tiles that were in the backsplash actually had texture on them, so they were raised, which I had never noticed before, which is really unfortunate because when you're tiling over tile, you have to have an even surface to start on without any cracks or chips or anything raised. So yesterday I went through and we removed all those accent tiles, and then we had to cut new tiles to place them in there, so we've got a nice even surface to tile over our tile today. And then we also noticed that this we at least knew about, that our new hood isn't the same height as our old hood. So I also backfilled with some tiles there, so we have a base as well. So the next step is we're gonna go ahead and paint it with this EcoPrime grip. And that's supposed to make a really nice adhesion surface for the thin set to adhere to for our next layer of tile. A lot of people recommend doing this, so we're gonna give it a go and see what happens.
Alright, here we go. Here we're going to start putting on our final coat of Waterlocks onto the counters. This should be the last 24 hours of smelliness. Here we go. This morning we're going to be using this Tech multi-purpose primer to prime the wood subfloors. And then we're going to try to put the floors on and possibly walk over to the kitchen tonight. Going with our, hopefully the final big step here. Last big step is the luxury vinyl Stainmaster flooring. You know what? It's cheap and easy. Hopefully, we'll tell you if it's cheap and easy, and then we'll report back if it actually works to you and you can make your own decision. There's lots of different floorings out there. If money wasn't an option, probably do tile or wood or I don't know, something else, but this is cheap and easy. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we're not ending with little stubs. What's the minimum amount you have to have?
6 inches.
6 inches. So you don't want less than 6 inches in a piece on the edges. So we're just kind of mocking it up and seeing what kind of pattern we want to use.
Like time consuming than my regular grout, to me at least. I've also not done a lot of large format tiling, so that might be why this is feeling like it's taking a long time. But I have such a small amount of grout, and then I'm just putting it in these little teeny tiny grout lines. And because of that, I'm using a much smaller putty knife, and my lines are a lot smaller. And then, like, you can't really use the grout float the way that you normally would, because I'd be wasting grout all over the floor, and I only had 2 small pre-mixed buckets. The other thing that I read a lot of reviews about was people complaining about it drying on their tiles, and or if you leave any of the residue on the tiles, it doesn't come off eventually. With regular grout, it's pretty easy to buff out any sheen that's left, something like that. But I think because this is maybe mixed with like a silicone or something like that, people said if they had any left on a tile, they could never get it back off. So I'm taking a lot more time sponging it off really, really well. And then also just making sure that I'm not leaving behind like gray, watery residue. So it's taking a minute. But so far this room's taking me actually probably an hour, a little over an hour. So for the whole kitchen, it's probably gonna take me like 4 hours, maybe 5. We'll see. Testing out the sink, just got it hooked up, and it looks like it's working so far. We're just gonna make sure there's no leaks in the drain. Finally, we have a sink. We can wash dishes after 3 weeks of no dishes. Alright, so we're getting everything put back together. You can see we got our new range in there, plugged in. We have the strap to keep it from tipping over down there. Our grout
grout ceiling here with Miracle Grout Sealer. We still had some left over from a different job we did. A little bottle of this goes a pretty long ways, so we were able to save a little money there.
We're gonna do 2 coats. Just finished our first coat.
We can cook. We burned off some of the new factory smells yesterday. And we got a sink and we got a dishwasher. So we are back to a semi-fully functional kitchen, minus all the plates and things. So if you ever wondered how to do a kitchen remodel with a sedan, here you go. Here's our dump load. Got all the old flooring here, the old countertops on top of the car.
Thanks again for watching. Tune in next week to see how we updated our cabinet doors with a DIY shaker style trim and find out our final remodel cost.